dad's. He was there for like 6 weeks. It was the year he was the world champion.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember going, this is priceless.
Yeah, yeah.
In Logan, you're not going to jump in.
No.
You know, you're not going to have your next door neighbour, a 10-time Molokai to Oahu champion, and Joel Parkinson on a Sunday, current world surfing champion. You know, talk about inspiration. That sort of stuff was really crazy and good for me and people are all around us. But what I'm getting at here with that DVD is I remember watching it going, okay, I got to learn a lot from you. You know, you're watching, it's like, it's a documentary.
Yeah.
And you can see in your eyes, like, you're quite a serious competitive character, of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not there to mess around.
No, yeah.
Not at all.
No, if I'm going to do it.
Of course you're not.
If I'm going to do it, I want to win, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from watching that, and there's a couple of cool things in it. I remember you saying you're sort of upping the crew. Don't have that boat to the right. Like, don't get that in the wind, like, or something like that. Like, you know, and you're really stressing it to it. So obviously it happened in the race before, or
it's happened before. Yeah,
yeah, when your own team boat or something is blocking your own sort of. Anyway, I'd be same, the exact same, mate. You know, it all.
Yeah.
But again, don't lose track. But I have lost track.
Yeah. No, you're talking about. I think you gave the DVD guys to your guys at work and tried to inspire them and stuff. So, but
it'll come back to me.
Yeah. But no, it's
no. Then I saw your dad, right?
Oh,
so then you're old man. What's his name?
Paul.
Okay, I noticed because just like Big Brother.
Yeah.
You watch that TV show or something like that, you feel like you kind of know you a little bit, and there's like, okay, I recognise these faces now. They're showing up at the shop. That's his dad. There's Paul.
Yeah.
And Paul, how old's he? About
62 or 3, I think. Yeah.
And fitter than all of us, right? You know, like
he's a fit guy.
He's an inspiration to every other 60-year-old bloke out there. You know. Yeah. And I was looking at him, and he seems like a real fast-paced sort of bloke. And at the time, he and your brother perhaps were running a school.
Yeah,
or
they do the dad rents out the boards down at the pirate ship park there at Currumbin and does school groups and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So and it made me think. Okay, you've been inspired, or obviously your old man put you in the pool. And you're like what's he like? What was his?
He was a surfer, surfer, water guy. Loved fishing, but his big thing. He was a really good rugby player, so he played rugby, up until he was nearly 40, and represented New South Wales country, and toured New Zealand and all that stuff. So he was a pretty tough dude, and I remember watching him play. Rugby as a kid. Every Saturday we'd go and watch him play rugby and travel up and down the coast, and then so he was a bit of a athlete, and you definitely
that's what normal is for you.
Definitely like feed off that, and I just been like, for me, I was at school and it was like I just wanted to do sport. I didn't care what it was. If it got me out of school, I'd play ping pong or freaking track and field or whatever it was. I just loved the whole. Cross country, it was just anything that I could get out of school just to do anything the sport was, I'd do it.
Yeah. So when you started racing, what was your first race in anything that you remember? That's significant that you went, I love this.
I remember.
What school were you at?
I grew up in Coffs Harbour.
Right.
So I went to Coffs Harbour Primary and Coffs Harbour High School. But I remember it was Nippers. I think like my parents put me in the Nippers when I was 5 years old. So I just remember doing that every Sunday, going down and, running on the beach and doing the beach flags and all that sort of stuff. So, and then that went into, because I had really bad asthma as a kid, right? So that was why swimming was so important. It helps your asthma. So then I remember swimming and, doing, of a Friday night would be swimming club down at the local pool, and then Tuesday night was little athletics down at the running track. You know what I mean? Like I was just this little freaking ball of energy that just wanted to just run and swim and then the racing side of it, I guess, came pretty early. Like I don't really remember. I just remember, I remember being pretty good at most things. Like I was one of those freaking natural little kids that was pretty good at stuff, and so it's easy, like when you're sort of naturally good at stuff, it makes you sort of be like, oh wow, I can win this, or I can do this,
Yeah,
And then,
you're there for a reason.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you start to win, and it's like, I like this feeling, and it just snowballs, right? And you're just like, fuck, right? Like this feels good, and then you start training properly, and you get selected to do a team, or I remember I played football growing up too, right till I was 16, rugby league. I played competitive soccer, represented New South Wales at soccer and stuff as well. So I mean, I was just, so I didn't grow up really like these days you see kids, they just grow up, they're surfing. That's what they do, boom, 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 and that's all they want to do. Their parents, they want to be like Joel Parkinson. When I was a kid, it wasn't really like that, like I did what every kid did on a Saturday, was go down and play soccer or football, and then through the winter, and then and through the summer I did surf club surfing and that, and then and then really what took over for me was the surf life saving part of it, racing the paddle boards and the surf skis, and then that was right up until my early 20s, and then I found Molokai, and then I quit the whole surf life saving thing. Molokai came along, and during this whole time I'd always surfed, but surfing was just really a hobby. Wasn't something I did, through Molokai, through the best time to surf for example, I was living at Crumman overlooking the hill there, looking straight into the alley. I'd get up and go swimming training. I'd come back, surf's pumping. I'd go to the gym. I'd come back and I'd go paddle. Right. I didn't even surf for like 3 months, because I was so focused on winning that race, and, but then I was lucky enough, I was able to go and spend the 3 or 4 months in Hawaii every winter, so.
Who told you about that race? Like, where'd you find?
A guy in our surf club went and did it, and then he won it in 1997. And then
what's his name?
Mick the Better.
Okay.
And then he came back, and
again, like he won it, like in your club.
Yeah.
I bet everyone in the club, I can win it. That means I can win it.
Yeah, it was just a different race. It was a long distance race, and then. So then me and my a good friend of mine at the time, we were like, we're going to go and do a team race just to do it and have a holiday in Hawaii, right? So so we went and did it, and that was in 1999. I went and did that, and then and then in 2002 was the first time. Another friend of mine, Aaron Bitmead, really good mate of mine, he won the race in 2001, and so at that time. I was, let me backtrack quick. 1999, I did it as a team. 2000, I went and tried to do it solo, and I think I finished like 5th or 6th. 2001, I backpacked around the world, and I happened to be back in Hawaii when the race was on, and I did it as a team with another friend, but my best mate at the time, Aaron, won. And then when I saw him win in 2001, I'm like, that's it. I'm going to put everything into winning the next year, right, 2002. Yeah. And so that's when I went back, and I won in 2002. So, wow. But, so, yeah, you get inspired off different people, and, just sometimes it takes something like your best mate winning something to just go, I want to win that, and go and try and do it.
Yeah. Must be – this is where you're definitely in the nutcase scenario now. To win it 10 times, you know what I mean? Like, surely after the third, I won the third, and in a normal person's mind, they'll go – I've done it. You're like,
yeah.
Yeah, after the 6th, after the 7th.
Yeah, it's crazy. It didn't feel like that, and I remember winning it once, 2002, and then this guy, Sean Monahan from Hawaii, was the only guy that had ever won 2. He won it 2 in a row. So I'm like, that'd be cool. I'd love to, maybe go and do that. And so I went back and I got 2, and I'm like, that'd be cool to be the first person to ever win 3, And I went back and I was able to do that, and then. After that, I don't really know. I enjoyed going to Hawaii, we went for, at that stage, I was going for 2 months at a time. I was working lifeguard for the Gold Coast City Council, and I would just, work really hard leading up, save all my money, and then go and spend the whole 2 months and hang out and train and do all the races, and just go to California, do a few races, come back, and
sounds great.
It was fun, man. it was fun, and it was like a holiday.
Yeah.
And I think that's in a way where it became like it was
your life.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like it. I was like, I just kept wanting to go back. And I mean, look, towards the end, towards 7, 8, 9, 10, things got real, people started really coming out of the woodworks to try and take me down, lots of the Ironman and stuff, from the Gold Coast, came over and, tried to do the race and stuff. And so, that was good, there was a guy, Bruce Taylor, who was one of my teammates at North Burleigh Surf Club. He was a phenomenal board paddler. He came over, and then Zane Holmes, one of the greatest Ironman that we've ever had, he came over and did it. And then, Wes Berg did it 1 year. So, but it was awesome, because knowing that those guys were coming.
Right, it was your next.
Yeah, made me want
to beat them.
Made me, just, well, you just realize that these phenomenal athletes are coming, and you're like, okay, like they're trying to take, like what I've been working for. And, and I think to a degree, like, I honestly think that a lot of all those guys just, probably thought, like, there's not too many people to do that race, and, how hard could it be and stuff like that, So I just was like, I wanted to make sure that, it was like, it is hard. This thing is hard. And, and
tell us how long that race is.
It's 32 miles. So it's like about 52 kilometers, in a straight line.
It's big. It's deep water, right? So there's some
big, deep water, the Kahivi Channel. Yeah. Like they call it the Channel of Bones. And, it's super deep, lots of current, lots of, depending on the conditions, whether it's the wind or the current or the tides or the swell. So it changed. There was no year that was ever the same. Some years were tough, some years were easier than other years. It was never easy, but it was just this challenge. You never knew what you were getting into. Some years were flat. Some years there was no wind, and it was like paddling in the creek. It was,
right.
But that's
Why do you think you're so good at it?
I feel like my background of just swimming and paddling my whole life since I was a nipper was obviously there. And then, my endurance space, I was a sprinter as a kid. That's what gets me sort of all weirded out, is because I was such a sprinter. I loved sprinting 100 meters. I loved swimming 50 meters. I had this like high, they call it high fast twitch fibers, where I was just a really good sprinter, and I wasn't really that good at endurance stuff. And then, I guess, training yourself into it, and then just understanding the body and stuff for me, like, and I got tested my VO2 max and had quite a big, VO2 max, and my lungs were bigger than the normal, human's lungs and stuff. Okay. So I think I just grew into the endurance side of it, and it became my greatest strength, was my endurance. And the mental side, doing a race like that, you've got to be mentally switched on and really, willing to push yourself, through that barrier and be able to deal with it, And I really, you always want to hope that you think you're tough, right? You think you're mentally tough, like I'm the man and stuff, but you don't really know until you get pushed, to a point, and you either crumble or you get through it, And so I sort of prided myself on being that guy, like I was like, okay, if things get tough, let's see who's the last man standing, Right. So I had this really sick mentality of like,
that's what the greats have, mate.
Yeah. I just, and that's what it took. It took talent, it took a bit of skill, it took the mental side, and it took a little luck too. It took all that. And I look back now, and I'm just like, I was thinking, it was funny you mentioned that. I thought the other day, and I was thinking about like how, like I can't believe, honestly, I don't know how I got 10 in a row. Like myself, it's like not just the like doing. It's just like I'm going to go to Byron Bay for Christmas for 10 years in a row on that date and be there. Family gets sick, you hurt yourself, you break a leg, you get the flu, something pops up. You can barely do that anything. And I'm like, to get there without being injured or sick or something happening, like, I was obviously.
And when you've got, Wes Berg and that's just from our country. Like, you've got guys, I'm going to beat this dude. He's 6 in a row, like 10. You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine their training?
Yeah, the Hawaiians.
I am going to beat this guy. And they're the greats of the greats from all around the world. You understand?
Yeah. Now, people, after 2 or 3, it was like a.
Did you relax your training at all?
Oh, no. The first year, the year the Zane came, I think it was I want to say either 05 or 06. Like, when I heard that he was coming over, like I really stepped it up that year. Like, I was like,